this episode, we are going to create our Next.js application, and we will also work on authentication by making use of Clerk. So to create the Next.js application, we just need to run this particular command, and you need to have Node.js version 18.17 or later installed. So once you have Node.js ready, all you need to do is to run this command. I'll go ahead and copy the command. And then I'll open a folder here. So I already have this empty folder. I'll go to the path and I'll type cmd, hit enter on Windows, and this will open the terminal on this particular path. Okay, and right here is where I'll run my command. So I'll paste it and hit enter. Then we give the name of the application. Since we are already on this folder, I just need to include a period or a full stop there and hit enter, and then this will take the name of this particular folder as the name of the project. Would you like to use TypeScript? I'll say yes. Would you like to use yes? Lint? Yes. Tailwind CSS? Yes. SRC directory? No, I'll go with the default. App router? Yes. Would you like to use the import alias? Yes. What import alias would you like to configure? I'll go with the default, and then this will go ahead and create a Next.js application for us. So as you can see, it's done now. Success, created vid chart at that path. Now we can open this with Visual Studio Code, or you open with your code editor. I'm using Visual Studio Code, and I'll say code space and a full stop, hit enter, and that will open the project on Visual Studio Code. And here we go. We have the project. We are making use of the app router to run the application. It's pretty easy. I'll use Ctrl J to pop the terminal here, and right here I can say npm run dev to run this application, and you can find that on package.json file. So script dev. So if you run npm run dev, it will run this command next dev. Our application will be ready on localhost 3000. So we can visit that app by control, then click that link, and it should open on the browser. It opened on the browser, and we can see that we are on localhost 3000. This is the default template that comes with Next.js. You can just come to app, then page. This is the default page, and this is everything that you are seeing here, all this. So all you can do is to highlight this main. So I'll click at the bottom, then shift click at the top, remove everything, and I can say div, and here I'll say vid chat. I save, and now everything here will be cleared. So as you can see, it's cleared. Also we have more styles like the dark theme and so on. So to remove all that, I'll first remove the import of the image. We can go to global.css here, and as you can see, we have some styles. And what I'll do, I'll remove everything, and I'll remain with these Tailwind directives. So I remove everything right here, and we remain with these Tailwind directives because we need them for making use of Tailwind CSS. So I save, and now the dark theme should be gone, and so on. And as you can see, we have our application empty. The beginning of our application is right here at our layout. And as you can see, we have our HTML here, the body, and then the children. The children will be the various pages, and the first page is this one right here, where we said vid chart. This is now like our home page. In this application, we won't need many pages, just this one, and maybe 2 more pages for sign in and for register. But for now, we have these. The way we define the meta tags in Next.js is by exporting these metadata object. And then right here, you can see we have the title, the description, and so on. So what I'll do right here, I'll just remove the title, and I'll say vid chat. And for the description, you can say video call. Then for font, this is how we get the font. We just import inter from Google here, call this inter as a method, and we pass some configuration. then we get this inter object which will have a class name. So we pass it like this, and then the app will make use of inter, just like that. So yeah, that's the basic of our app there. Now I want to go ahead and we immediately start working on authentication. Adding authentication with Clerk is very easy. So you can go to clerk.com docs, visit this link if you can see it, quick start / Next.js, and right here you'll see the instructions of how you can go about working with Clerk. The first thing that we need to do is to install Clerk / Next.js. I'll copy that command, and then at the terminal here we can add another terminal, and for this second terminal we can use it to install stuff. So right here I'll just paste the command and I'll hit enter. So this will install Clerk in our application. The second step is to configure environment variables. So if I come to Clerk dashboard, okay, first of all what you need to do is to create a Clerk account. You can continue with a GitHub, I think, or Gmail. Once you create the account, then you'll go to dashboard and you can create an application. So right now I already have some application here, and I'll create another one, and I can call this one vid chat, and I'll add YT. Then you'll choose the things that you want to log in with. So we have email and Google, those are the defaults. So if you add more, you'll see how it will look like right here. For example, if I add GitHub, you see it adds GitHub, Apple, it add Apple, Facebook, it add Facebook. But for now I just want these, just the two. So I'll go ahead and create the application, and then right here you can select the library that you're using. Right now it's Next.js, the framework, and it gives us the same instructions that we saw at our quick guide here. And actually I think we will follow this one because it will already give you the keys right here. You don't need to go and look for them. Right here you'll need to go and look for them, but right here they'll be pre-filled for you. So we will add these keys at our .env.local. So I copy that, then I go to our application here, I add a file, and I'll say .env.local, and right here I'll just paste those keys. Don't use mine because later on I'll delete my. We continue here. We need to create middleware.ts at the root of the application. Click out here and then add a file. So you'll just say middleware.ts, hit enter. Then right here you'll just copy this and you'll paste it here. Okay, go ahead and save. Then go down here. We need to add a Clerk provider. We do this at our layout, which is the beginning of our application. We go to our app, and then at layout.tsx we will wrap our application with the Clerk provider. Clerk provider, this will come from at Clerk Next.js. Then we'll have this crossing part of it, then we'll add it at the end here, and I'll save. So what we have done, we have covered, or we have wrapped our application with this Clerk provider, just like they have done right here. So now once we wrap with Clerk provider, what I'll do, I'll create the two pages for sign in and for sign up. At our application, I'll add a new folder, and I'll use these brackets, and I'll say Clerk. This Clerk will not show at our URL while we are trying to visit a page. It's just for grouping our authentication. And this method that I'm following here is actually on this extra part. Utilize your own pages for authentication. So if you continue here with the guide, this is what you'll be shown, I think. So as you can see here, you create a page called sign up, then you'll create a path like this, then the page itself, then you'll have your sign up page like this. So this is what I want to do. First of all, I am grouping those two pages, the sign up and the sign in, for authentication. So right here, I just add now sign up. Then I'll add another folder in sign up, and then I'll use this particular syntax where we have two square brackets, opening and closing, at the middle, 3 dots, then sign up, like that. Inside now this folder, we add page this.tsx. Then we just copy this code right here and we'll paste it in here, just like that. So we'll do the same for sign in. So I'll add a new folder and I'll say sign-in, and then in there, let's come down here. This is the guide here. We'll add another folder inside sign in now, the square brackets, then 3 dots, then sign-in, hit enter, and we'll add our page.tsx. Then we copy this and we paste it here. And as you can see, we are getting this sign-in component from Clerk.js, and this sign-in will basically give us the sign-in form. So I go ahead and save. And if you go to app, you should have Clerk. Then when you open Clerk, you have 2 levels, sign in and sign up. When you open sign in, you have these and then page. When you open sign up, you have these and then page. So that is like the structure there. Okay, then update your environment variables. So we'll just copy these and we'll paste them in our environment variables. So I'll copy that and I'll go to our env.local and we will update them right here, and I'll go ahead and save. So we have the sign in URL as sign in, the sign up URL as sign up. To visit those, you can come back to the application. If I refresh, nothing happens, but now you can amazingly go to sign in. When you hit enter, that loads our sign in page, and as you can see, we have this sign in form which you can actually continue with Google to sign in, or you can click sign up here and it will take you to the sign up page by itself, just like that. Very nice. So we just need to style this better so that this is at the center of the page. At our app, then Clerk, I'll add a layout, and that layout will be shared by these 2 pages since they are under the same. So right here, I'll add a folder and I'll call it layout.tsx. In this layout, we will style everything to be at the center. I'll say const Clerk layout will be equal to an arrow function. I will return a div, and here we will pass the children. Now these children will be the various pages that are under this Clerk. So that will be this page and this page. These children complains because we should bring it in from props. So right here, I'll destructure it from props as children, and then I'll add the type for this. Remember, we are working with TypeScript. So right here, I'll add the type. Children will be of type React node. Now I can add the common styles right here. I'll add a class name. We will make use of Tailwind CSS, and we'll say height is screen. Then we will flex. Then we will say items will be at the center, and we will justify center. We'll just come right here and we'll say export default, and then we'll say Clerk layout. By default, like Next.js will know about this particular layout. Okay, this structure that we have here, it will know that this layout will be the start of our page if we visit stroke sign up or stroke sign in. So as you can see now, this is at the center because we centered it right here using this div, and it's shared. So if we go to sign up, it's still at the center. So I want us to like wrap up everything about authentication. I'll create a navbar, and then at the navbar, we can have somewhere where we can have sign in. Okay, easier for navigation. Right now we have to go right here at the path and switch manually. Now about our navbar, I made use of a few components from ShardCN UI. We won't use it in many parts of the application though, but this is a good chance for you to learn about ShardCN/UI. So right here, just search for ShardCN. You'll see ShardCN/UI. Let me expand this. I need to go to the docs or something, get started, installation, Next.js. Okay, first of all, it shows you how to install Next.js application. We have already created a Next.js application. Then it shows you how to add shardcn stroke UI. So we copy this command now. So I copy that particular command. I go to our app and I paste it. I install. So I hit enter to add shardcn in our application. We configure some defaults. Which style would you like to use? I'll go with the default. I'll hit enter. Then I'll go with straight as the base color. Would you like to use CSS variables? I'll say yes. And it will initialize some stuff for us. And as you can see, it added these components folder. Another thing that it added is this lib folder. And this lib folder have utils. And the utils, all it has is a cn function. So this cn function makes use of tailwind merge, and it's very nice for merging various tailwind classes. I think we might get to use it later on while working with tailwind CSS. So we have added shardcn. With shardcn, we don't bring in all the components from shardcn. We just bring in the components that we need, and that makes our application to be lightweight. The components are highly customizable, which makes shardcn to be one of the popular libraries. So basically what I'll do, I'll go to components here and I can search. So search here and I'll say button. Let me show you how you add shardcn components to your application. So you'll see here is the button. The button looks like this. Then to add it, you just install individual buttons or individual components. So right here, I'll run this command, copy, I'll paste it here and hit enter. And this will add the button component in this components folder. I'll hit enter and it's installing the button. And as you can see, we now have a UI, and then inside UI, we have the button. I'll wait for it to complete installing it. Once it's done and click on the button, you'll see this is our button. We have all the styles here. It's highly customizable. You can change stuff if you want and so on. So this is the good thing with the shardcn UI library. Now let's go ahead and create our navbar. Inside the components, I'll add a new folder and I'll say layout. You can add different folders in this components folder, but this UI folder will be specifically be holding the shardcn UI components. In this case, at layout is where I'll add our navbar. So I'll say navbar.tsx. I'll hit enter, and then right here SFC. This is an extension that I'm using. So SFC is short for stateless functional component. I'll hit enter. Okay, the extension is called Simple React Snippets, a VS Code extension. Then right here I can say navbar. I'll add a div. And for our navbar, we'll also be having a container. So we also need a container component, which I'll create right here. So I'll add a new one and I'll say container.tsx, stateless functional component, and I'll say container. It will receive children, and right here we can destructure children as props. Then right here we'll add the type for the children, and I'll say children will be of type react.react node, just like that. Then right here our container will return a div, and the div here will be having the children as the content. Then for the div, we'll add a class name and we'll set a max hyphen width of about 1920px. We will add width to be full, margin along the x-axis to be outer. Then we'll have XL for larger screens. Padding along the x-axis will be 20. Then for small screens, it will be 4. And then padding along the y-axis for all screens will be 4. So this is px, not pz, px. So I'll go ahead and save that. So that is our container component. We'll make use of it at our navbar. So right here, I'll have the container component. So container coming from our .container. This Lucid React was installed together with shardcn, so don't confuse. Bring it from this one, just like that, and that will wrap the contents of our navbar. Right here it complains because it expects some children. So if we happen to add a div, that error will disappear. Very nice. So this parent div here for our navbar, let's add some style, and I'll say it will be sticky, and top will be 0, and then we'll have a border, and we'll have border bottom color to be primary, then stroke 10. 10 is like an opacity for it. So our navbar will have two parts. On the left we'll have the logo, and the other side we'll have the buttons for signing. Let's add a div. The div will also have two things. I'll add an icon called video, and this will come from Lucid React. And then right here we'll have a div, and then we'll say vid chat. I'll add a class name. Let font be bold, and let text be Excel. Then for this one we'll also have a class name. We'll say flex, then items will be center, then let's have a small gap of 1, and let's have cursor here as pointer. If we happen to click this logo which we are creating, we'll say on click, and we will direct the user to the home page. So here I'll say let this go to our router okay, we first define this router. Right here we define the router, and I'll say const router will be equal to use router, and this comes from Next/router. Actually not from Next/router, but from Next/navigation. So this is like the latest one. Now we can make use of this router here. We say router here dot push. We specify the path, which is the home page. So if we click the logo, it takes us to the home page. Then another thing is that once we make use of a hook like this is a hook, we mark this component as a client component. Remember in Next.js we have both server components and client components. So right here I'll say use client, and I think we can preview it so that we see the progress as we move on, and you know, so that you can fix any issues early. We need to hook our navbar at our app layout. At the top of the children is where I'll add the navbar, and before that I'll also define a main tag, and I'll pass children to be inside main. Then this main will be having some styles, so I'll add a class name, and I'll say flex will flex column, and then I'll say mean hyphen height will be screen, and pg let it be secondary. I save to auto format. Then in here at the top of the children is where I'll add the navbar component. So I'll say navbar just like that. Then for these children I will wrap it with the container component which we created earlier. So I'll say container. Okay, it will be from components layout. Then we pass children there, and I save. Now once I save, since we have hooked our navbar here, I believe we should be able to see it here. Okay, there we go. Nice. So now as you can see, for our navbar we are able to see this section where we added the video icon coming from Lucid React. Then we had the vid chat as the name there. Now the next step is to add some buttons on the side there. So after this div we hit enter, and right here we'll have another div. So I'll say div, and in this div we will show a component which will come from Clerk. That is the user button component from Clerk Next.js. Now another thing is that we can get a user from Clerk right here. I'll say const, I'll destructure user ID. We can make use of use auth, and this use auth hook comes from Clerk Next.js. So we invoke that, and we can be able to destructure a user ID. This user ID will be important because it will help us know whether we are logged in or not. So after our user button, we can make use of that user ID. If we don't have the user ID, we'll go ahead and we'll show our buttons, our sign in and our sign out buttons. So right here, I'll have a button. The button will come from a UI button. So this is a shared CN button. And here we will say sign in. Then right here, we might have the various props. Size will be small. Variant will be outline, like that. Then we'll be having a similar button for sign up. So here I'll say sign up, like that. The variant for sign up will be the default, which is not outlined. So I'll remove variant there. Now, if I save, we should already see some buttons here. Anywhere, I don't know where they'll show. Okay, they showed right here. So as you can see, we have two different buttons, one sign in, one sign up. To style this nicely, I'll come to this particular div. So I'll say class name, then we flex, gap of 3 between the buttons, then items will be at the center. I save. Yeah, there we go. We have a gap between them. And then we want this sign in and sign up to be on this side, this logo to be on this side. So we come to this parent div. This is the logo, this is the buttons. So we add some styles right here. So we'll add a class name and we'll flex, we'll justify between, and then we will say items to be center. I go ahead and save, and now these will be pushed. They should be pushed all the way. Yeah, there we go. So now look, it looks very, very neat. We have the logo here, the sign in and the sign up on the other side. Now, the next thing, when we click sign in, it should take us to sign in. When we click sign up, it takes us to sign up. We have already defined a router, so we just need to add on-click events to these buttons. So I'll say on-click. Here, we will run a function that will return router.push, and we invoke this, and here we'll say stroke sign in. Then we copy this one, copy, then paste. This one will take us to sign up. I save, and that is our navbar. To test out, let's click on sign in, and it goes to the sign in page. Click sign up, goes to the sign up page. As you can see, working with Clerk is very easy. Just to work on some UI and everything is up. Continue with Google. So I'll log in with one of my Google account, and once I'm logged in, you'll notice that this will hide and then we'll show a user button. So I logged in with Google. I'll give it some time to process, and there we go. We are logged in. We no longer see sign in and sign up. We have a user ID, and we can actually see a user account here, which you can manage. Very nice. So as you can see, we have done a lot of stuff in this just one video. We created the Next.js application. We have used shared CN for our buttons. We have added Clerk authentication. We have created our navbar, and we have covered a lot already. So in the next episode, we will create a custom socket.io server on our Next.js application, and you'll see how we'll go about that one. So I'll see you on the next one. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure you subscribe, turn on post notification, and yeah, leave a thumbs up.